why we really celebrate Christmas. What do the Christmas tree, cosmic egg, the Minerva Owl, 666, caroling, fa la 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 la, the black cube, the holly and mistletoe all have to do with the birth of Jesus Christ? They all share in common the same roots: Saturn. The timeless secrets of Saturn. Then God said, "Let there be lights in the dome of the sky, to separate day from night. Let them mark the seasons, the days and the years, and serve as lights in the dome of the sky, to illuminate the earth." And so it happened. God made the two great lights, the greater one to govern the day, and the lesser one to govern the night and the stars. Genesis 1, 14 through 16. The footnote in the Bible says, "This section from the Priestly Sources functions as an introduction, as ancient stories of the origin of the world, cosmogonies, often did. It introduces the primordial story, the stories of the ancestors." You may be wondering, what are these priestly sources and primordial stories? Who are the ancestors? And why are we not flat out told what these sources say instead of just truncated down to these few verses? The primordial priestly sources are all kept in the Masonic libraries, but break down into the following: the Babylonian, Sumerian, Hindu, Semitic, Rabbinical, Sacerdotal, Greco-Egyptian, and the Mayan Druidic codexes. Common across these priestly primordial sources is Saturn ruled over the Golden Age, is described in striking, almost close-up and personal detail, seemingly without the need for satellites, including details about his rings and his infamous six-sided hexagon. He was considered, and still is, the father of time then, as he is in modern astrology today. One primordial name for Saturn is Kronos, and has two known spellings: the Greek Chronos, which connotes his status as the father of time, as his name occurs in the word Chronology, meaning the knowledge of time. An even more primordial spelling is Kronos, which occurs and has the same meaning as krona, which is the basis of today's words for and translates into corona, or crown. A virus with this name surely implies some sort of Saturn or Kronos reckoning, wouldn't it? Atop Saturn's north pole, or his krona, is a six-sided hexagon. These primordial texts state, Kronos was the all-seeing eye in the sky, that his eye was always staring down from the heavens, making Kronos also all-knowing. This all-seeing and knowing eye of Kronos faced Earth during the Golden Age when he ruled, and with his rings he was called the Lord of the Rings, and the Father Lord who are in heaven, all of which is symbolized in this primordial and original magical seal for Saturn. He ruled the splendid Yuga, or epoch of the Golden Age, until, as all the primordial priestly sources state, he ate his children, that is, he went supernova, causing him to explode into a spectacular but devastating light show, spewing his astral guts across the celestial waters. He cannibalized his own small assortment of satellites, or moons, or children. He had then as he does now. This event was commemorated by the survivors and witnesses of this celestial primordial event all around the world, with a festival of lights all occurring between our modern calendar months of November through February, around the time of year when this happened. Originally called Chronia, this later morphed into Chronia in Greece, and then later Saturnalia by the Romans, and still even to today Christmas, still the same as it was then, a festival of lights. Part 2. Earth was inhabited long before humans. Then God said, Let us make human beings in our image, after our likeness. Genesis 1, verse 26. In the Bible's footnote it reads, "Let us make." In the ancient Near East and sometimes in the Bible, God was imagined as presiding over an assembly of heavenly beings who deliberated and decided about matters on earth. All the ancient cultures and modern global cultures still, as the Jewish and Muslim calendars are moon-based, while the Western Christian sun-based, and Christmas and Hanukkah are both celebrations of the same celestial event that marks the supernova of Kronos. Since time immemorial, we earthlings have imagined an assembly of heavenly beings who deliberated and decided about matters on earth. Further exemplified by Christians today who celebrate Easter and Lent, which depend upon and revolve around the phases of the new moon and the sun's transit into Pisces. The Farmer's Almanac, which you rely upon whether you use it or not, is the backbone of the global economic trading system as it predicts the growth and flow of food according to seasonal and star changes across the dome of the sky, which translates into revenue, economy, money. The main difference between then and today is we substituted the word planet for gods, an assembly of heavenly beings for a pantheon of gods. And while we imagine one god today, the ancients conversely knew, not imagined, not just one, but a pantheon of gods, the planets. The Bible also tells us Adam lived to be 930 years old in Genesis 5:5. Every Bible historian and serious student of biblical interpretation includes always in their analysis the numbers. Adam's age, 930, is composed of 9, the number of fulfillment. He fulfilled his duty in life. 3 is the number of completion. He completed the unfurling of his mind, body, and spirit. 0 is the number of unity, divinity, the homogeneous indivisibility of God, signifying Adam returned back to the grace of God. Further, this revelation of his age occurs in the 5th verse of the 5th chapter of the book of Genesis, and 5 is the number of the Hierophant, the high priest, the one who mastered the theoretical and practical qualities of spirituality and therefore achieved the 5 of freedom. That is profound indeed. But what do the actual primordial priestly sources this chapter and verse of the Bible are based off actually declare? Let's explore. In the primordial priestly sources, like the actual book of Adam and Eve, the book begins on the 3rd day, weirdly enough. On the 3rd day, the book of Adam and Eve begins. God planted the garden in the east of the earth. Just a few verses later, after God has caused Adam to go out of the garden, chapter 3, verse 1 through 6, we learn, God said to Adam, "I have adorned days and years on this earth, and you and your descendants shall live and walk in them until the days and years are fulfilled. Then I shall send the word that created you and against which you have transgressed." Yes, this is the word that will again save you when the 5.5 days are fulfilled. Wait, rewind. Earlier we find out the transgression was eating of the tree of knowledge of good and bad, and the punishment of expulsion from the garden was so that Adam would not be able to smell the sweet smell of those trees and forget his transgression. Paradoxically, the same thing which brought about Adam and Eve's and humanity's punishment, his transgression of eating from the tree of knowledge, is also the same thing which will again save you and me, supposedly after just 5.5 days. Indeed, the paradox is, to save ourselves, We have to keep eating from the tree of life and knowledge of good and bad, not abstain. Well, aside from that, it's been a lot more than 5.5 days also, so what's up with that, right? Chapter 3:6 continues in the book of Adam and Eve. Then God, in mercy for Adam, who was made after his own image and likeness, explained to him that these 5.5 days were 5,500 years. Excuse me? Well, why didn't God just say that? But God continues. And how the one would then come and save Adam and his descendants. Well, dang. So much for mercy, right? 5 days, 5,000 years, no real significant difference there, right? Coincidentally, 5,500 years approximates one age of the signs. Each of the sign ages is heralded and ruled by one of the planets. The first one, the Golden Age, is ruled by Saturn. Then the second one is ruled by Jupiter, who in Greek mythology dethrones him as Zeus. The primordial priestly sources of the Masonic library state Kronos, the father lord of the rings, and the all-seeing and knowing eye in the sky was in a binary star system with Zeus Jupiter. Both Kronos and Zeus are impressive stars in their own right and would be capable of sustaining their own solar systems beyond the clutches of the sun. An appropriate name for the sun as well. If Saturn is affectionately grandfather clock Kronos, and Zeus Jupiter the Almighty Father, then it makes sense the one who follows this duo in the Trinity is the Sun, called the Sun, and the planet or God, who ruled the third age or third day and start of the race of Adam and Eve. Saturn was also the first to rule the first day, making him the ruler of the days, while Zeus, the one who ruled the night and governed the other stars. The fallen angels. The golden age of Saturn is described in astonishing and fantastical detail. Everyone could fly during this age, perform metaphysical feats with their minds, and everyone worked for the common good. Everyone on Earth, under the ever-watchful eye of Saturn Kronos, owned everything and worked for each other. There were no rich or poor, and everyone was a slave to everyone else, but a master of self, as it was encouraged that you slave away for your riches, which everyone else got to enjoy, which also established a built-in incentive to promote the well-being of everyone for generations to come. In the Masonic library, the primordial priestly sources, like the books of Adam and Eve, God commanded Adam to live there in a cave in a rock. This cave was the Cave of Treasures. Later, in chapter 4, Adam cried over himself and said to Eve, "Look at this cave that is to be our prison in this world. Look at your eyes and at mine, which before beheld angels praising in heaven without ceasing. Now we do not see as we did. Our eyes have become a flesh. They cannot see like they saw before." Does this mean Adam and Eve could see without the use or need of their eyes before the transgression? How so? That must mean that Adam and Eve were part of the light. They were light beings, and their punishment for their transgression was the body. And the more that they sinned, the denser the body in matter became. The Bible even states, Genesis 3:21, "The Lord God made for the man and his wife garments of skin with which he clothed them." Adam and Eve provide their own testimonies regarding this event and decry their transgression, which has caused them to take a form or body, and when once Their light beings could see angels. They were now light beings clothed in skin, which has cast a garment, a net, a veil over them, separating them from the light they were a part of, with the angels in a light beyond the light of earth as beings of light. When they are entrapped in their bodies, Adam and Eve, who were light beings beforehand, are unaccustomed to the flesh of their eyes and cannot understand how to see using their new flesh made eyes. They cannot identify with their bodies in this new garment of skin, and where once a field of light was all their spirit knew, their light being was now inside a cave they described as a rock, one which was full of darkness because their eyes were closed since they could not use them, meaning their skulls. This was the cave of treasures. We also read, they transgressed because of the serpent. But in chapter 17, verse 3 of the book of Adam and Eve, we read, before the curse, the serpent was the most exalted of all beasts, the fairest and most beautiful. But after, it had become venomous by reason of God's curse, and it now turned to eat the dust. And in the Bible, Genesis 2:7, we learn, the Lord God formed the man out of the dust of the ground. Okay, putting both together. And this is a crucial cornerstone to the highest divine wisdom. You are made by God of dust, and the serpent was commanded by God to eat the dust. The book of Adam and Eve continues. The serpent was abhorred by all beasts who fled from it, and a wind blew down from heaven by the command of God and carried away the serpent from Adam and Eve onto the seashore where it landed in India. If man is made of dust and is destined no matter what because God commanded it for the serpent to eat the dust, meaning man, and God threw the serpent to India, then the destiny of man is not only the mouth of the serpent, but the knowledge of India. And in India, according to the Hindu Mahabharata, lived the ancient serpent people called the Nagas, and these Nagas are described as being capable of shape-shifting, transforming themselves, working apparitions, and even magic, and helpers of mankind who love them in return. This beloved and revered holy Naga, however, is shamed and demonized as the Satan serpent, who in the Bible is described himself as having the power to produce apparitions and illusions so believable that they cannot be distinguished from reality. One and the same. So, is this a test of God? Are we meant to see the serpent as the conquering of our greatest fears, represented by Satan, so we can then fulfill our destinies as men and women, made of dust, inevitably destined for the mouth of the serpent anyway? Because God commanded our fates be left to the serpents? In other words, are we meant to embrace the serpent Satan and quit seeing him as foe and instead as the only means by which we shall be saved again? Because one thing is known of God. He tests your will, fears, and intellect. So, is the serpent friend or foe? In episode 2 of The Secrets of Saturn, we will explore the spectacular details the primordial priestly sources tell us about these ancient serpent folk who we as humans once revered. These Nagas, as we will see, are the one and same global phenomenon of the same cosmic and mythological retelling of the people who inhabited this world we call ours. How these Nagas consider themselves and their civilization the original Earthlings, the Terrans. These Terrans tell us of their own wars against an invading race. Timelines and records place the wars of these native Terran Earthlings against the invading race with the arrival of the Sumerian Anunnaki. These and more incredible claims by the Terrans and Anunnaki in the next episode, and their eventual war documented in the Bhagavad Gita and Holy Bible over control of Earth, and the newly created slave race of the Anunnaki, the children of Adam, us. No matter what you believe, though, there is one thing you can do for yourself. Arm yourself with the power of a mala, made of 108 crystals, because in the original language of Jesus, Aramaic, his name for God was Allah. Allah is a valid name for God, as verifiably this is what Jesus called God. And when the Christ himself spoke of God, Allah, he said, Allah. The Christ called him God, Allah. Allah, because together they were the Christ Allah, the Christal, the crystal consciousness, the consciousness of divinity. The basis of the word crystal is Christ and Allah, and you are a crystal. And the whole point of this channel is to help you in your journey to activate your own most powerful crystal, your pineal gland, by demystifying the meaning of symbols, numbers, and signs that have no real bad intent other than how they're used, and they've been used to make you think they're evil, when in fact they are the exact way to activate your holy pineal gland halo. The whole point of this channel is to help those serious about activating their own pineal glands. It is to reveal the knowledge of the occult science, which I totally encapsulate for you with 4 charts that show you your star twin avatar via your 13 joints, your planet to paper chart, which shows you which sign is your ego. Newsflash, your first palace of ego, of self, is not ruled by Earth Gaia or your rising, but rather Saturn. Saturn is our ego, the Satan ego in us. It is this ego, ruled by Saturn, we must tame and defines us. Thus, where Saturn is in your chart marks your first palace of ego and self-identity. The ego is the dragon, the serpent in one. However, we must love our ego, not kill it. Tame our ego, not suppress it. Life is about balancing your ego with the power to manifest your dreams. Having these charts along with you for your journey shows you your greatest ego challenge, and also how you can make money, generate income, your purpose in life, your dreams and partnerships, and with the full numerology breakdown, you also get to understand your path of destiny, outer personality, soul number, and a clear understanding of the cycles you are trapped in, because every month is ruled by a number which symbolizes a cycle. You are under the spell of these cycles every decade of your life, but the sooner you master these influences of the number monthly cycles, the faster you get to moving, the quicker you flow to your dreams. If you want to poop on my prices, I am sorry, you are too poor. And go fornicate yourself for criticizing me for wanting to help, and make a living while at it. Speaking of cycles, I really hope to grow my Instagram numbers with your help. I have posted 2 full-length cycle videos on my Instagram, showing you exactly how I take this mental intellect, knowledge of God, and put it into my body through physical use of it. It is essential that you combine this sacred mind knowledge with the body. Yoga is a way, but not the only and far from the best way. Personally, I hate yoga. I have tried Ashtanga, Vinyasa, Bikram, and find them mind-numbingly boring. And aside from yoga, I've tried CrossFit, Pilates, Zumba, everything. I have a dance background. I have run marathons, done triathlons. I've been an athlete and physical my whole life. And at the end of the day, I find cycling on a stationary bike the best way to do all of that. Check out my Instagram and follow, please, for the secrets on how to use the spin bike to hit the obliques, do sit ups, push ups, crunches, squats, and so much more. This is for all those out there who value having a flexible, fluid, strong, and malleable spine and hips over unhealthy and unrealistic six-pack abs. I dated professional athletes, an Olympian soccer player, an NFL player, and aside from them being utterly closeted, I know what they were jealous of me most for was my range of motion, my flexibility, my total comfort in my body, in the skin my soul wears. I hope to inspire you to move, sweat, and do so while loving your body as it is. I also always work out knowing where the planets are, especially the moon, as I like to ritualize my workouts, like spiritual ceremonies. No better way to hit the gym and the temple at the same time. It helps so much to know the star to paper chart, in this instance because it reveals to us where the planets put their weight, which tells us which parts of your body are strong and pronounced, and also personality things like if you are an outgoing person or closed off. The joint chart also tells us if you are more Pingala electric dominant or Ida magnetic. And these nadis help with understanding your own energetic flow, as in if you process experience in life, emotionally or rationally, for example. I teach you not to change anything, but to master your own personal self, to love yourself, not by my standards or anyone's, but by the standards of your own stars, numbers, signs, joints, and charts. I have only initiated 31 individuals so far, and 3 of my female initiates have reported of their own accord, and this is protected free speech, so I do not need to put a medical disclaimer, especially because I'm not the one claiming anything. I am just the one reporting this, because I had no clue this would or could possibly happen. But 3 of my female initiates reported to me that their menstrual cycles reverted from a full moon menses to a new moon menses. And one who has wanted to be a mother is finally thinking she can. Yes. Again, this knowledge was kept from women. I am the first to give this knowledge to women. So, who knew this would happen? And aside from being the only person in the world initiating anyone with this knowledge, it is through me and only me women are getting it. This was, as it turns out, factually the rule 100 years ago before the over-proliferation of fossil-based fuel electricity. Yes, less than 100 years prior to this chemical and air poisoning electricity, we are sold instead of the 0 point energy we are capable of, and I have seen myself. Women had their menses during the new moon. Just by applying this knowledge in their lives through their meditations and using my Osir Chakra Activation and Kundalini Purification course. Join today on the channel by clicking the join button on the homepage on YouTube to get access to it. Or you can go to the website and get the same membership for $3 cheaper on my website. This news, these women reported to me, which I am reporting, as I do with knowledge, back to you, caught me by surprise. Other initiates have reported to me that their veil has been lifted and now they see themselves as they really are meant to be, that they see reality for the first time, which is not defined by society and this world, but by God and the sky of the dome He placed above us in His mercy for our ascension back to Him. I also provide this knowledge for you with your own personal webpage, a narrated video, and a full PDF report. Click on the description in the link below. Please help if you can. I would love it if you would consider helping me continue this mission. If I have touched you in any way and you have experienced an awakening, then I truly hope you consider booking me for your own personalized webpage, fully decked out with the most amazing knowledge like it is your own personal library of cosmic self, grounding you back to reality. And once you are grounded with reality, you can do amazing stuff with this science that the ancients didn't call science, but magic. And that is the secret knowledge. If you do book me for the natal CSA report, that is all you need to do. Please, please refrain from emailing me anything about you, as you are paying me to deliver the most sacred knowledge. Your retelling of your story is only going to create a wall. I need you fully open to receiving. And if you are giving me your life story, you are not receiving my knowledge. You are giving me your story, your ego, while my knowledge is meant to heal that life story and ego with nothing but kindness. You are paying me to deliver your most sacred knowledge, not read your emails, much less respond to them. Just a very kind reminder, please. If you still want to email me and correspond back and forth after I deliver your report to tell me your life story and how I can further help you, you are welcome to. After purchasing a monthly follow up, which is on a first come, first serve basis, as those slots are incredibly limited because I am helping a lot of people. I love helping others and it makes me so happy, and I want to keep doing this. My mission is to deliver this knowledge, to give. This knowledge, people were killed for trying to spread, especially women, including our Messiah Jesus Christ, who was from Palestine and killed by an Israeli Jewish court, which the book of Adam and Eve, and this is protected free speech. It is not anything but. I'm just reporting knowledge. But the book of Adam and Eve says to us, God said to Adam, "And this sign, O Adam, will happen to me at my coming on earth. Satan will raise the people of the Jews to put me to death." If you take a second to look at our world today, indeed, the sign has never been clearer. So, in His name, I hope that you trust and believe that it is okay to be you, the most beautiful you there ever was, there is, and that there ever will be, because you are not a story that can't be told twice. And there will never again be a stage for you to perform, but this one, right here, right now. So be you, the most beautiful you.